And we are live. People are logging in. We'll give it a few seconds before we get started. Fantastic. I love the activity here. Philippines, UK, Canada, and of course the UAE, which is where I am based. Hi all, my name is Omar Sharif. I am based in Dubai, lovely sunny Dubai, and right now it's evening for me, of course. It's 6:30 p.m. for me. It's a little later in India, I understand, and of course a little more later in Philippines and earlier in the day for Europe and Canada and elsewhere. So, welcome once again. I am a student of life. I am a person who learns from everyday interactions, who learns from people whom I sit and interact with every single day. I am a traveler. I'm an explorer. I travel a lot. And across cultures, across continents, across countries, every person I meet, I learn something new and I love every bit of it. Now, I always have been very, very keen to learn, to share, to contribute towards people and enriching people's lives and making the world a better place. Now, don't get me wrong. I have a full-time job. I am working for a manufacturer, and that's a job I love. That's something which I do for a living, my daily bread. But on weekends and evenings, my passion is to interact with people, make their lives better, and try and understand them and take them to the next level, move them from the ordinary to the extraordinary, if I can. Using my lifelong experiences, using my 17 years of my career, using my travel, and using all the failures in my life. God damn it. So here I am. I try to interact with people, help them, let them know about myself, and learn from them at the same time. And that's been a passion. Today's session is exactly a step in the same direction. Today, we are about to meet a personality who has really walked the talk. A personality whom I have a high regard for, a lot of respect for. And this session essentially kicks off a series of sessions, and you'll be noticing them as you come in the future, as you get involved with me. We will be having different kinds of personalities come on the show eventually, week after week, or fortnight after fortnight, or month after month. Personalities who've really made it big in life, personalities who've really moved to the next level, personalities who've really gone through those tough life challenges and have come out successful on the other end, not unscathed. Of course, they were bruised, but came out very, very successful. And today's personality is someone of a similar nature. Today's personality is a leading motivational speaker, someone who is also a coach, a leadership coach, someone who is also a success coach, someone who has really reinvented himself. It's not just bookish knowledge you're going to hear today. It's not just theoretical knowledge you'll be witnessing today. What you'll be witnessing, ladies and gentlemen, is essentially a walk the talk experience, a real life experiences of someone who has walked the talk and impacted thousands of lives in the process. Okay, we are talking about Mr. Minocher Patel, who is in the studio with us, who is, of course, a leading motivational speaker and a success coach. I'm absolutely honored and thrilled to have him here and share the space with him. Everyone, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together, show me some energy, and let's welcome Mr. Minocher Patel on the screen as I bring him on the screen. There you go. Mr. Patel, a very good evening
Hi,
to you.
Omar. Good evening, Omar. Good to be here.
Thank you very much for gracing this occasion for us. Thank you for actually allowing me to share the screen with you. I've been an absolute fan of yours in terms of how you've been delivering and how you've been conducting yourself over all these years. So, delighted and excited to be here. Thank you very much for coming in.
My pleasure, Omar. I immediately agreed to this because I'm very proud of all the progress you've made in your life and especially about your passion for coaching. So I thought it would be my duty to encourage you and to make sure that this series gets a good start. So I'm very happy to be here.
I'm humbled, absolutely. So let me just go ahead and introduce you a little more formally to the audience who might not be knowing you. I'm sure most of them know you, but to the ones who do not know you, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Minocher Patel is the founder, director of École Solitaire, India's first residential finishing school. Many might not be aware what a residential finishing school is. He can talk about that later on. And which also, by the way, is an international corporate training consultancy. He is internationally acclaimed and India's leading motivational speaker and corporate trainer. Mr. Patel is known in the corporate and educational sector in India and abroad for his transformational training programs on motivation, leadership, business etiquette, and many other soft skills programs. It's interesting. I was fortunate, by the way, to be a part of his workshop almost 16 years ago, which was on corporate grooming and business etiquettes. It was a 9-day workshop, and we'll touch base upon that as we move into the future in this interview. But I just wanted to reference that over here because he conducts these workshops on and off. And that workshop, I can tell you with a lot of confidence, impacted my life for the better, not just when I stepped into the corporate world, but even after and even years after. And that's interesting. Now, over the last 2 decades, Mr. Patel has trained over 200,000 people all over India and abroad, even in countries like UK, USA, Canada, Sri Lanka, Thailand, UAE, Bangladesh, Nepal. He's also India's leading leadership and image coach for CEOs, senior managers, politicians, and professionals from the entertainment industry. Mr. Minocher Patel has received numerous awards for his contribution nationally and internationally. What really strikes out is what really caught my eye was the award which he received at the House of Lords. On 14th April 2011, Mr. Patel received the Katha UK Global Excellence Award at the House of Lords, London, for, and I'll quote unquote, for emerging as one of the best, most powerful, and entertaining motivational speakers India has produced in recent times. I take a bow at that. Thank you very much. Amazing to actually have you on board. It's amazing. I really have no words beyond that. Okay. Finally, let me just close the introduction by saying Mr. Minocher Patel is also an author. He had recently authored a book called Ordinary to Extraordinary, which of course has been a national bestseller. I never had a doubt about that. So here we go. That was a very brief introduction of Mr. Patel. Without further ado, let's dive straight into the questions and try to learn from him what really takes, what really things, how things have really been difficult or easy for him, how things have really made him successful in life. And you and me and everybody on this call, whether you're a student, a coach, someone who is in a transition period, you all can listen to his stories and think and maybe imagine and learn. And this goes for me too. When he can do it, I can too. And that's the whole objective of having sessions like these, where we draw inspiration from people like him and really move forward in life and go to the next level. Mr. Patel, welcome once again.
Thank you. Thank you, Omar. Good to be here.
Thank you very much. We have lots of chats coming in, and lots of people are saying, hi, Minocher, hi, sir. You are a popular person, so good to know that. Anyways, I knew that. A lot of people are actually getting to know you again. Great. Let's dive into the question, sir, straight away. I will reference the workshop that I had been in yours 16 years ago, right? 2004. And
Right.
I remember from that workshop, corporate grooming and business etiquettes, where you were able to hold the audience by your wit, by your humor, by your enthusiasm, by your retorts, right? And at the same time, you were able to deliver absolute value to the students. And that surprises me. I have visited and I've been a part of programs where people deliver value, but deliver value in a very vanilla cake kind of a form. Your style of delivering has always been interesting, enticing, engaging. I wanted to ask you this, really building upon that is, how do you get that style, and how did you acquire those skills? And if you didn't acquire, was it genetic? Was it developed? How did this really happen?
All right. Interesting. Good question, Omar. A lot of people have asked me this, and I will tell you. Yeah. Uh, you know, uh, I was very blessed and lucky to attend a Train the Trainers program in Germany way back in 1988 as a student. And I won the first prize in that particular Train the Trainers program. So the we had a trainer from Dale Carnegie. So he observed and told me that at the end of it, that I have never laughed in my life in the last 20 years what I laughed in 1 hour. You made a German laugh, and that's something. So he says, remember, normally as a German, would not encourage you to use too much humor in your program, but you have a natural style. It just comes to you so naturally. So don't leave it. Keep it that way. So that registered with me because I always believed right from my college days that when I saw professors coming and boring the audiences or teachers coming and talking down to the students, I said, why can't learning be fun? Why can't learning be made interesting? Why can't we make it so nice and interesting that students want to come to class? And I had some examples of, I had one sir in school who teaches geography and he used to tell us stories and he used to love his lectures. So I had a lot of good reference points in my life of good teachers who I felt really held our attention. So I strongly believe right from the beginning that training has to be, learning can be fun. It doesn't have to be serious. I always say we have enough time
Absolutely.
to be serious. When we are dead and gone, we can all be very serious. You'll never see a dead body smiling. So when you're alive, I feel there's so much. It's so important to have a positive environment in the room, training room, and make people enjoy the experience of learning. And I believe that when you use humor effectively, people put their guards down and they start learning better. They stop envying you for who you are. You come to their level. Because initially, especially when you're talking, training anybody, especially students, for example, I make it a more deliberate effort to come down to their level, crack a few jokes, make them relax. I don't want them to be in awe of me. I want them to feel, hey, here's my friend, somebody like a friend who's telling me how to be better without talking down to me. So humor is a very powerful tool which I use, and I think most honestly, it comes very easily to me. I think I'm a Parsi. We are genetically programmed for humor. So we don't even think of jokes. It just happens. It just comes. And it's not that I go on stage and I become humorous. It's part of a life. It's a way of life. So it just helps to be that because I'm a Parsi, I think it comes more naturally to me. And I don't hold back. Most trainers I see they have a sense of humor, but they have this conditioning that, oh, I'm a trainer and I have to live up to this image and I have to be serious. And they have some different notions of training. So they hold back. They don't relax themselves to be able to get the audience to relax. So I always feel that if you use humor and you do it passionately, the thing is, I always say when I'm training that you have to put your 110% in it, emotions, your knowledge. It's a combination of so many things. And I guess I just do it from my heart, so all that energy and all that passion just comes through and the audience can feel that. And I think that hooks them to you because they can see you're sincere in delivering value to them, and you're also being sincere in engaging them, in holding them. So they can see that effort. Many times I've heard students say after 7 days or 9 days of programs, yes, sir, we really envy your energy. How did you do that? It's not that they miss out on that. They appreciate the fact that you stood there for 7, 8 hours a day and gave your best. And that also raises the bar. That also raises their respect for you. So I think if you do it from your heart, with complete purity of intention in terms of complete honesty to your profession, it all just falls into place, and then the magic happens. That's what I would have to say.
Very well said. Very well said. And I believe, yes, for sure, it comes back naturally. It comes to you very naturally. It's also partly genetic, but I think you made a very, very good point where you said, I don't hold back. And I think a lot of trainers, a lot of motivational speakers, a lot of coaches do. They hold back in just trying to be a little different, and that kind of creates a barricade, creates a wall between the audience and you. So thank you. That's a gem. That's a nugget. I just saw in the chat we have one. Let me highlight that. We have, you're not just from Dubai and Canada and UK, you also have a fan in Egypt. Mariam El Serafi says, greetings, Mr. Patel from Egypt. That's
Hi,
absolutely
Maria.
fantastic. Hi,
Hi, Maria.
Mariam. Good to know you. And Mr. Patel sends you his regards. Okay. So, moving on to the next question. Thank you for that. I have seen you. I have seen you live. I have seen you on videos. I have watched you on YouTube, and I have always been in awe in the way you actually use your body language, the way you actually own the stage, the kind of stage presence you have. And so, my question to you is, Was this something which you actually stumbled upon accidentally? Was this a calling for you? Was this something which you were looking for and you got it? Or this was something which, happened to you?
No, actually, that another good question, Omar. It so happened that when I was just 20, when I was doing my BCom in Vadia College, Pune. In fact, it started from FI. I was in an organization called ISEC. It's an international organization. I don't know if some of the people out here would have heard of it. It's an international association of students, and I was fortunate to be a founder member of it. So, I we were 12 of us who set up this committee. So, in that whole one of the things we did in that was whenever we took younger people, younger than us, we trained them on selling skills, on fundraising, on propagating the message of the organization. So during those sessions, I realized I enjoy training. I realized I used to get good feedback. And I was fortunate that in the coming year, when I was in my final year BCom, I got selected to represent ISEC India at a Train the Trainer program in West Germany. Those days, West Germany. In '89, the wall broke. And I was just very fortunate to get selected for that. It was a 15-day program, and I was very, very fortunate to. I was representing India. There was one student from Delhi and one from Pune, and there were students from 48 countries. So I
Wow.
won the first prize there, and then they gave me a scholarship to go to Finland, a place called Nurmes in Finland, where there was another advanced course, and there were students from 39 countries there. Another 15-day program, and there I again won the first prize. So I was very clear in my mind that I found my strength in life, And by the time I was on my flight back from that trip in Europe, and I was clear that one day I would be doing this. The time I didn't know how. I was from a middle class family. I didn't really know. I didn't have the resources to just launch myself. So I had to take very calculated moves. I had to play it very safe, and I decided to do my MBA because I felt that anyway I should work in the corporate sector before starting off my career as a speaker. I always felt I didn't want to become a teacher by any chance, because for some reason I had this different image about teaching. I said I want to become a trainer, I want to become a coach. And luckily, during my trip to Germany and Finland, I met trainers from Dale Carnegie who told us, hey, here is a profession called training, and you could become a trainer. In those days in India, we didn't have this profession. So I said, great. Then I made up my mind, back of my mind, that I would love to get into education and training at the earliest possible time in my career. So I think I found my calling, and I more than my, I would say I started believing in my calling in Europe when I won those two prizes. And then, of course, there are a few things that happened in my life which strengthened that calling, and which I'll tell you a little later. And I think it all fell into place.
Fantastic. It's always good, and you bring up this point which I have always been harping about. I always talk about it is finding your calling, finding your purpose, and having a little more clarity on what you want to do in life is so essential. And the sooner you get it, the better you are off. Right. And I really applaud you for really getting to that calling part much earlier in life. You knew exactly where you're going. And I understand from what I've heard from your talks, you eventually moved into a corporate career. You started off with a corporate career, and I believe it was a company called Wadilal, right? Right. And then you completed your corporate career, and you actually had a very cushy one, and then you just left it out of the blue and moved away to pursue your calling. Now that's a decision which not many actually are willing to take because it's not easy. It's a tough one. I would love to hear more about that. How did you really transition from a comfortable corporate high paying job to a world where you actually had no clue how you would fare, how the market would react, how the world would react, and how would you really move from that point onwards to where you actually wanted to be?
All right. See, it so happened, Omar, that like I told you, I was on my flight back from Germany. I was clear I wanted to become a trainer. I wanted to get into education as a educator. So I was toying with the idea, and I was trying to find the right time, and it was constantly back of my mind. I never left that thought that I have to become, I have to use my talent well. I just can't be part of the corporate world and float around. So during when I was working with Vadilal, I started in my companies doing training programs. I used to always offer myself as, sir, I'll do a selling skills program. I have to tell my boss I can do something like this. I can make a presentation. So I kept practicing my skill when I was in my organization. And
Awesome.
so that was very important that I did it free for my organization, and they were happy to get a trainer free within the organization, was ready to spend his weekends that too on training. So it was a win-win for everybody. Also during that time, I used to be called to colleges to give lectures. I used to offer myself that, hey, I'll do it as a, I don't want to charge, but I'll do it as a, it's my passion and my hobby, and I like to add value to the students. So I remember there was one very famous college in Jew which invited me on two or three occasions. And by the third time they called me, they had a whole hall full of people, and their people were standing behind and listening. So the college authorities were shocked that the students don't listen to us for 2 hours, and you held them for 3 hour talk. The kids from Bombay are very naughty. So they said, and they were standing for 3 hours and they heard you. They said there's something going on. So they said, okay, we'll have one more program, a fundraiser. Will you do it for us? We won't pay you, but we want to raise funds. And they sold that ticket for 50 rupees a ticket. I remember. I'm talking about, this is 93, 94 in Bombay. And it was for students. So the student, I remember it was Bhaidas Hall in Jew. So that was my first program where people had been paying to hear me. So the program got over, and as I was walking out of the college, two young Gujarati boys came and said, sir, we want to talk to you. He says, sure, go ahead. He says, sir, we bought this ticket. We are two friends. We bought the ticket in black, in 100 rupees each. So I was very touched. I said, really? And he says, sir, paisa vasool. Paisa vasool. We were very happy. We got our value. So then when I was going back on my way, I thought, this is a message coming from high above somewhere, that people are ready to pay for you. And even after paying double, they are saying, I felt the value. So I felt more confident that I should, as early as possible, launch myself as a speaker, professional speaker. But of course, I had my family commitments. It was not so easy to leave a job and just jump in. So then I moved to Dubai after 5 years in Bombay, and I was in Dubai for 2 years. And
Interesting.
then,
I wasn't aware of that. Okay.
yeah, that's why I mentioned that I was in Dubai. I was taking care of Bahrain, Oman, and Qatar, and I was taking care of the country management responsibilities for 3 countries and 11 brands, food brands. But somewhere within, I was not satisfied. And then something happened in my personal life which made me take a big decision in life. I decided to move to India. And also, I decided to change my profession. I felt that was the best time to do it. Internally, that time I felt prepared. And I felt, if I don't do it now, it will never happen. Because what happens, I met a lot of people and they said, yeah, I also want to do business. I came to Dubai. I had promised myself 5 years in Dubai. I'm already 40 years in Dubai. So, and Dubai is so comfortable that it's the comforts, the luxury sucks you in. And I decided that I don't want to get too used to this. Otherwise, I will not be able to do it if I stay longer here. So it was a very difficult call. In fact, I was so clear in my mind because I shared my finishing school plan with one of the industrialists in Dubai. He was a very big local Arab gentleman from there, and he loved the idea. And he said, you stay here, I'll finance you, we'll set up a residential finishing school in Dubai. And I was so excited when I heard that. I said, great, my project can take off in Dubai. But when I went back home in the night, I thought, why should I do it in a foreign country? Why can't I go back to my own country? I was very clear. I wanted to add value. I felt India as a country needed somebody like me more than Dubai. So I was very clear in my mind. I want to go back to my country and make a name there and do whatever I can there and then do work internationally. But my base had to be India. So I rejected an offer. In fact, I didn't even share it with my family, with many people, because I was scared that they think I'm a fool to leave such a big offer. Somebody is saying, I'll give you a house in Sharjah, a bungalow in Sharjah, I give you a driver, car, you money. You just set up the finishing school year and we'll do a great job. We'll be partners. But I was clear I wanted to take the long cut. I said, I'll go back to India, start from scratch, but I will want to make my name in India. So I think that clarity is very important in your life. And also I had a sense of purpose. See, a lot of people ask me that how did you leave a job which was paying you X amount of salary every month and leave it? This was my perspective. That's how I lowered my pressure on myself. I feel that every human being should do seva. At least 3 to 5 years or 10 years of his life do seva, whenever they can. And most people think of giving back to the community after they retire, when they're 60, 65, whenever they want. I said, I
I,
am doing
I'll,
seva.
I'll just interrupt and say, for the people who do not understand Hindi, seva, it means service to
Yeah,
man.
sorry. Thanks for doing that. So I said, I must do the sense of, I should serve the people. I came into this business with a sense of serving. I never thought I would be so successful at it, to be honest. I didn't know. I just felt that I wanted to do my best and serve people. And I felt this is the time to do it, and now I should do it. And I said, even if I fail, I gave myself 3 years in my mind. I said, I'll give my honest effort for 3 years. I'll do my best. God forbid I don't succeed. No problem. I feel that I've given 3 years of my life to serving people, and I'll retire 3 years later. It's like maybe I'll retire whenever I retire. I'll retire 3 or 5 years later. But instead of serving people when I retire, I'll do it when I was young. So
Wow.
the intention was so pure that I think, I always say there's clarity of thought and purity of intention. And if you back it up with patience, persistence, and pride in what you do, you will be successful. It's a matter of time. So
Very,
that's a,
very well said. Absolutely. I am, you talked about Dubai being comfortable. It's like deja vu for me. At the same time, you talked about how you transited and how you took service to man as essentially your spearhead and moved forward. And I think that's exactly the right way forward. And every time I meet people like you, I realize the same thing again and again. It's all about giving. You have to be ready to give. The more you give, the more you become better. The more you give, the more you get. But you have to go from the point of giving. Only then you'll actually become successful in life. Thank you again. Those were essential nuggets. Let me just quickly look at any comments coming in. Anyone wants to ask a question on those? I do see quite a few questions. Oh, Asma agrees with me and says, Minocher, I like what you said. The comfort of Dubai can suck you in. So true. We need to be mindful. As I said, Asma, deja vu, totally. Very inspiring indeed. Some lovely comments coming over there. Thank you very much, everybody. Keep them rolling. And if there are any interesting ones, we'll take them on and we will also answer any questions you have. Keep them coming. So thank you for sharing that, Mr. Patel. And then I understand that can I call it this movement of yours from a successful corporate career to something which was unknown to you and you really had no idea how it's going to turn out at the other end? Can we term it as reinventing yourself, because you are getting into a domain which was totally dark for you at that point in time, right? And
absolutely.
okay, and recently I was hearing a talk where this gentleman reinvented himself. He was actually into merchant navy, and he said, and he made a very great point. He said, reinvent yourself, change your position when you're at the peak of success. He said, don't start looking for a change when you're down in the runs. When you're down, really don't. When you are successful, when you're really happy, when you're about to get to the next level, change your field if you're really interested in reaching your higher self. And so this
Right.
gentleman moved away from merchant navy to banking and finance, for all you know, and from there he's moved on to somewhere else. Real life reinvention, as you might call it. Would you also consider yourself in a very similar boat?
Yes, absolutely. I consciously reinvented myself, and it's not easy to do that because it
Absolutely.
takes a lot. It takes a lot of guts. It takes a lot of. You have to really believe in yourself. Because there's a lot of resistance from people around. They think you've gone crazy. There's a lot of Everybody has their own theory about whether you'll succeed, not succeed. You have people pass, all sorts of comments come in, but you have that, you need to have that inner conviction to sort of say, no, I'm going to do it, and have that complete clarity and commitment to what you want to do. And I guess if you do that, I'm sure you can reinvent yourself successfully, or at least try to. If not successful, at least try to.
Correct. I think one of the challenges, and I'm sure you faced your challenges too. I think in Asian countries, especially African Asian countries, one of the challenges which comes up is family pressure, peer pressure, and friends and well-wishers in inverted commas who say, "Oh, what the hell are you doing? You're moving from a corporate career to doing this? No future, uncertainty. Why?" And I'm sure you faced them too. And if you did, I would love to hear how did you really tackle that?
Oh yeah, like everybody, even I heard those comments. I had relatives saying, "Oh, I don't think you have got good communication skills. How are you taking such a big decision?" I actually had a relative telling me that. I love him and I respect him. He's my elder. But I said, that's his opinion. See, the thing is,
Yeah,
as a trainer, you have to be very emotionally mature. you and I said, this is the challenge. If you can't take the criticism, or if you can't take negative words and feedback from people, you should not become a trainer, because you're going to be a public person. That's the message I also want to give. If you're a very sensitive person, don't come into this field. You have to be able to take feedback. So whenever I heard negative comments coming from people close to me or a little away from me and saying, "Oh, I don't know what you're doing, how could you leave your job in Dubai and start something like this?" And 97, 98 was a recession. So I used to always tell myself that it's okay. They don't know how good I am. You got to know how good you are. The world doesn't know. And believe me, once you're successful, then they will all come and tell you, we always knew, we knew you would be successful. We are so proud of you. Everybody will join the success bandwagon. But you're alone when you're starting off. And that is the time you need all your confidence, all your self belief, all your clarity within you, because that is not the time people will join your bandwagon. Once you're successful, they'll say, we always knew. You were born for this. But till you're not, you got to have that faith in yourself. So that's my,
absolutely.
yeah. Don't get
Absolutely.
too rattled by people's opinion.
That's a golden nugget again for the coaches on the call. There are, by the way, there are some coaches on this call who are
I
listening
know,
to
yeah.
you, and and there are coaches who are practicing coaching. There are coaches who are wannabe, who want to get into coaching, and there are people who want to do something in life and impact lives and improve people's lives, but don't know how to. So I'm sure this is something which would be an immense learning for them moving forward. Okay. Um, I've always heard, we've read the book of Stephen Covey, Seven Habits of Successful People, and you always hear the word habits and skills and habits and skills. I've always been a firm believer of them, but I think nowadays habits are something which kind of take a step forward in terms of ingraining yourself and envisioning yourself and positioning yourself for success. Much more than skills, I think habits are critically important. And I'm sure you have your own habits too. Would love to hear about yours and what take do you have on habits as such.
Very crucial, very important, very good question, Omar, and very good insight. I'm glad you're focused on this, because I believe habits make or break people. I've seen so many people not succeed in life because of one bad habit. One bad habit. There's 100 good qualities, but one bad habit. Like, I had a friend who was in college with me. I used to learn accounts from him. Brilliant guy. He became a gambler. He used to do small time gambling in the beginning. Then he went to the horse races and then lost all his money. So within 4 to 5 years, he became a gambler, and he lost the plot. And he was brilliant. He was the most intelligent boy in our group. He used to teach us accounts, and we used to depend on him to pass in exams. So he passed all his exams in college, but failed the exam of life because of one bad habit. One bad habit. It takes 100 good habits to build a man. It takes one bad habit. I know of somebody in the corporate career world. I recently happened to have a chat with him, and he says, I lost a multi-million-dollar contract in one of my, because of which my business failed, because I landed late for 7 or 8 minutes for a meeting. And he says, all my life, my parents, my teachers, my friends told me, don't be late, don't be late, be on time. He says, I learned it the wrong way. He went bankrupt because he was in Germany and he landed up late, and there was a very big contract. So I have heard so many stories because of we are in training and coaching where people have got destroyed just because of one bad habit. So I always tell everybody, analyze what are the good habits you have, keep doing them more and more, analyze and take feedback. What are your bad habits because of which you have been left behind in the race of life? If you feel so, you are left behind, and then attack those habits. You can't. A lot of people say, "Oh, you know what? I know I have this bad habit. I know that," and they do nothing about it. Knowing is it's like a robber saying, "You know, I'm a robber, and I know I'm a robber, but I'm an honest robber. I'm accepting it. But you're a robber." The point is, you can't know and not do anything about it. It's criminal. At least if you're ignorant, you can be pardoned. But if you know you have that weakness and you don't correct that habit, you have you are cheating yourself and you're doing injustice to your career and yourself. So my tip for everybody is focus on building good habits. For example, especially a lot of trainers and coaches are there. So I'll share with you what I do in my personal life and how have I sustained for the last 22 years in this profession. Because I feel as trainers and coaches, we have to be extremely fit physically, mentally, emotionally. Extremely fit.
True.
You can't afford to be physically unfit. So, what you got to do is number one, most important, focus on having good food, good diet. You have to find your own balance. Whenever you feel your body is getting toxic, go on a diet, do whatever it takes to be fit. Second, sleep well. This is often ignored in today's world. I especially because I've been training a lot of younger people in the last 22 years, I see a trend in the last 10 years. People don't sleep before 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. And that's dangerous. That's bad for health. Even now, I have a discipline, right? I've been following this for many years. By 10:30, 11, I'm into bed. And by 6:37, I'm up. That 8 hours of sleep you need. And people tell me, oh, Minocher, I just do it 5, 6 hours. 5 hours is enough for me. It's not good. Yeah, there are some people, there are extraordinary people who survive with 3 hours, 2 hours of sleep. I've heard stories, and I know also of two, three people like that. But they are exceptions. So
True.
sleeping habit is very, very important. If you want to be a successful trainer and be Michael Jackson on stage, you've got to sleep well. Sleep is very important. I am a strong believer that a lot of your energy comes from good sleep, resting. It's very important. Second is if you're drinking, don't drink too much. Because in the training coaching profession, you'll travel a lot. You're staying at the best of the five-star hotels. It's so tempting to go overboard and have too much alcohol. So you have to have a disciplined lifestyle. If you drink, not more than 2 pegs. Make it too small, not too large. Ideally, if you drink. If you don't drink, great. So drinking habits have to be in control. Also, very, very important, your reading habits. How much are you reading? Are you now, of course, you can see a lot of videos and audios and you can add knowledge. But as trainers and coaches, I think it's very important you constantly update yourself with what's happening in the world and not get left behind. Every few months I upgrade all my programs, add new stories, new examples. Otherwise, you can get outdated very easily. So to summarize it, I feel what are the important habits? Your food habits, your sleeping habits. You're also very, very important. Apart from your food habits, your sleeping habits, and your uh, 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 I mentioned reading habits, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exercise habits. At least 1 hour a day you should walk or swim, anything, or go to the gym. So if you want to be a successful trainer or a coach in the long run, sustain it, then it's very, very important. You got to keep yourself fit and keep a collection of good habits. Don't let even one be on time every time. Never be late for a training program. I have a record. I never reach late for a program. I am very particular about that. And if I've given a commitment to my client that I will be there, I am there. So there are so many times I've done a lot of things to make sure I don't cancel a program, because that's where you have to walk your talk, because that's when people respect you.
Correct.
Yeah.
Credibility. All about
Yeah.
that. Absolutely. Interesting. You mentioned about habit and you specifically talked about sleep today. Today we had a session. I was in the morning in a session which was conducted by a coach in Dubai called Coach Mubin. And he was talking about the importance of a good night's sleep and what, uh, uh, you know, essentially a sleep deprivation and all the issues that it actually causes was horrific to hear. And so you are absolutely spot on. I think sleep and the other habits you mentioned are totally needed for us to be successful. Thank you very
Right.
much. I see a comment over here from Raji Thomas who says, good to see you, Omar, an alumni of Indira IIMP Pune. Raji, thank you very much for that. Yes, I am an alumni of IIMP Pune, which is my business school, and I'm totally proud of it because that institute was the institute which allowed me to meet Minocher Patel. Those were the days 2003, 2004, 2005 were the times when not many institutes necessarily could invest in conducting a 9-day workshop for the students, and this institute did it. And I'm totally thankful and grateful for that. And I'm sure Mr. Patel could add a few words to it if need be. But that's a trend that I see. Not many colleges invest in the students as much as this college had, at least in this case. And so I have a little different take as far as this is concerned.
Yeah, Omar, that's it's like I'm happy, gentleman, Mr. Raji Thomas pointed it out that you're an alumni of Indra, and I was going to mention it in my coming conversation, but eh, you are blessed. Like I'll tell all the students from Indra Institute of Management that you're blessed to be there in their institute because the owners really wanted to give the best. Now, why did they invest in a program like this? Uh, Even in those days, I used to charge per student. Okay, and but they respected. Of course, I should not charge them the corporate rates, but you compared to education institution, it was definitely on a very high side. The problem is education institutions are not used to paying professional trainers in our
Correct.
country. It's a
Correct.
racket. You tell a owner of an education institute, invest 50 crores in this building, he'll happily do. You tell him invest 1 crore or 50 lakhs in this trainer, he says, no, 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 no. How can I spend so much on that one trainer? No way. It's a mindset. But to the credit of the owners of Indra Group of Institutes, of course, now we are working with a few other institutes, but still things have not changed. I know of very big institutes, they have land worth 500 crores, but they'll come and negotiate with you and say, we can't afford your fees. Can you give us a discount? We're an educational institute. I said, where do you get your bungalows from? Where do you get your Mercedes from? Do you ask for a discount there? Unfortunate. It's just the conditioning. They're not ready to pay. But I think times are changing. Foreign universities are coming in, and they'll have no choice but to invest in high quality trainers, high quality coaches. This racket will have to go at some point. It will not go on forever. But coming back to Indra Institute, I give full credit to the owners, Sarita Shankar madam and her brother Chetan sir, Chetan Wakalkar. They had that vision right from then. They always told me, we want to give the best, Minocher. And they were new in the business. It's not that they had a lot of money. I knew of bigger institutes in those days who had the money but not the attitude to give the best to the students. They'll ask freebies from a trainer and say, oh, please, please come on, we're an educational institute, and try to get freebies out of you. But they are professionals, and that's why I think hats off to them, and I have great respect for them. We have almost a 20-year-old relationship with them even now.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So because we have that mutual respect and bond, and we are great friends now also. So they are amazing people. So you're blessed to be from that institute. I'm sure you and your friends realize that.
Absolutely. In fact, I'm sure some of my batchmates from that batch are also on this call today because some of them actually expressed interest when they saw you actually were going to speak, and so I'm sure they share similar sentiments. I can vouch for this, and I've given that I've already said that to you. The learnings I had from that workshop impacted my beginning of my career, and even years after, it affected me and helped me carry myself with the way you are actually supposed to carry yourself, essentially. So, absolutely, in total gratitude for that. Okay, moving on to the next question. Can you still hear me, Mr. Badel?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I can
Okay.
hear you.
Your camera had got a little frozen, so I was wondering.
Right.
I just wanted to ask you, now, especially with the kind of motivational speakers you see having a growth in the country and outside across the world as well, You see a growth in the way coaches have taken onto the stage. You see a growth in the coaching industry, the training industry, and especially because of COVID 19, you see a lot of things actually getting converted to online too, right? And this is on one hand. On the other hand, because of whatever COVID 19 has done or not done, we also see a lot of depression. We see a lot of suicide cases. We see a lot of cases where people are going bankrupt. And I believe these two things, on one hand, the coaching industry, training industry growing by leaps and bounds, on the other, depression and anxiety and deaths also increasing. How do you really merge them together? How can coaching and coaches and trainers help really lessen and soften all the negative things going on in this world? And what should we essentially do? Even if we had to use online mediums, what should we really be doing to really do our bit?
See, I think you have hit the nail on the head, Omar. I think there is a huge need now for good trainers and coaches who have a sense of service to do the best for people. So though the world is going through turmoil now, I think it's highlighted the need for good coaching, good counseling, good training, because people will need mental health will become a big issue in the coming years. It's already there, but it's going to become a bigger issue. And I think that's where motivational speakers come in. That's where uh, good coaches come in, because they can change people's life. They can change their mind. I say they are like heart surgeons. They heart surgeons work on your heart. Motivational speakers, good speakers, very good speakers, they work on your mind. They can just change your mindset. They can make you think
Correct.
positive. So I feel there's a great need for high quality motivational speakers, high quality coaches who are really dedicated to what they're doing. So whether you're getting paid for it or you're getting to doing it free, just do it with, we need more people doing it with the sense of service. And I think there's a huge potential for trainers and coaches to come in. But I would, just to make people a little cautious, I think because some people have written to me even on my Facebook and Insta and all that, can we launch ourselves now because online business is booming? I would say take your time, let the market settle down, take a year more to get yourself, get things sorted, and then jump into the business maybe after a year or two, after seeing how the COVID thing unfolds. And because right now the industry is down, very few people are spending on training. All our businesses are hit. Even our business, our training consultancy business is hit. But now is the time you can reinvent your business. Like, we are going online in a big way. We are
Correct.
doing a lot of, we are finding ways of doing more quality work online, which maybe if this would not have happened, I would not have done. So we are using this time to reinvent our business, add value to our business. And so most people can do that. Use this time to reinvent yourself. And whenever you can see somebody, for example, the one-on-one coaching that we have launched, I am now offering a 50% discount, uh,
Wow.
because I feel there are so many people down. I've never in my life offered a 50% discount. Never, right? Even when I started, I never, in 22 years. I'm genuinely doing it because I feel there are so many people out there who just can't afford high fees.
Correct.
Somebody of our caliber. So to make it easier for them, I've come up with a 50% scheme, discount scheme. I've come up with an installment scheme. So I think if you are going to come into this business and say, okay, I'll help people, I'll serve people, and even if I make little less money in this few months, it's fine. Then it's okay to come in. So otherwise, this is not the right time.
Right. I think it again comes from the same point which you made earlier, is coming from a position of giving, and
Absolutely.
essentially giving, coming from a position of service. And when you do that, when you have that in mind, I think things become much more easier. And that's a great advice to everybody on the call who is a wannabe coach or a coach in the making or trainer in the making. That's something which definitely you can take home today for moving forward and planning your future as you move forward. Okay. um, I had a couple of other questions which I had listed here. And let's say, well, you talked about the online coaching. And do you think online coaching is really going to impact this segment of the business? And if it is going to, is it going to impact positively or negatively? Because I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think the way things have really moved to Zoom and MS Teams and StreamYard and Facebook and whatnot, do you think post COVID 19, these things will again come back to brick and mortar, stage and hall, and other things? Or this would have its own velocity and keep continuing at its own pace?
Very good question. To be honest, I'm not sure. Okay, I'm making a guess because yeah, because I personally feel there is no replacement to personal coaching, personal training, live, like person to person.
Correct.
There's the magic is completely different. I've seen the dynamics. I've done both, so I can tell you with complete confidence that what you deliver in a one-on-one coaching, live, face to face with the person, is completely different. But wherever there is a constraint of geography, like somebody is in abroad and he still wants to be coached by you, then something is better than nothing. It's better to get coached by the right coach online than be with the wrong coach one to one. So wherever possible, I feel as time goes by, as COVID thing settles down, I think people will come back to normal coaching and training. But online training and coaching, I think, will have its own space. It might not grow as fast as it's growing now,
Hmm.
but it will have its own. Like I would say, to be safe, about 70% would be live, or 60% would be live. 30 to 40% would be online coaching training. Earlier, I think it was 10% online and 90% was live. So it is a huge, huge market which has increased online.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
I have a question here coming in from Doctor. He's a PhD, Dr. Zaman. When comparing real time training programs and coaching online, should an aspiring trainer prepare differently and approach differently to these mediums, or it's one or the same?
Very good question. His name is Mr. Zaman, right?
Zaman.
Yeah. Mr. Zaman, you have to prepare yourself, keeping in mind whether you're doing real time coaching or you're doing online coaching. Your material, your content, your passion, your energy, your everything about it has to be the same. It's just that as time goes by, we have to learn to use the camera better. We have to learn to use our online tools better. So, but be prepared for both, because in the future, like I said, there'll be live training and online training. But in terms of your content, things won't change. It will remain the same. But maybe your personal style of delivery online, because on stage you're different. Like I find myself completely different on stage, and I find myself completely different online. I'm still getting used to the online medium, to be honest, because for 22 years I've been on stage, live programs, and suddenly last few months I'm trying to get on online, and I'm still evolving and I'm still learning. In fact, just the other day my brother told me that my younger brother is an actor, Viraf, and he said, I think on camera we need to I'll give you some feedback. So I'm waiting to hear his feedback, because as an actor he knows how important, how well to use the camera, which I might not know. So for us, it's we as trainers, we have to evolve and learn this new medium. But your preparation is the same, according to me. I think your preparation, your content preparation, your preparation for delivering it on stage will be 90% the same. Online, you just have to you learn. We have to learn to use the camera a little better, which will come over a period of time, which will happen. Don't worry about that.
I agree. I remember when I was actually making my YouTube videos, one of my cousins who is based in Hyderabad, and he's an entrepreneur. He has his own restaurants, and he is very much into this videography, and he has his own rap songs and all. He gave me a very important tip. He said, whenever you make a video, make sure you use the rule of one thirds. I said, what the hell is that? And he goes, the rule of one thirds. He said, look it up on the internet and how your face should be positioned, how much of the screen should you be covering when giving an online talk. So it was interesting learning for me. I never knew that. And so, yeah, absolutely right. So you need to really grapple, learn from the experts, learn from the people who know the technology better than you. Camera facing, like you mentioned about your brother who's an actor, totally, and I would like to make a point here. I always say this: there's no shame in learning, no shame in asking for help. A lot of people push themselves back, take a step back because they do not want to look foolish. You don't look foolish because you ask for some help. Just because someone knows something better than you doesn't make you less smarter, right? And I think people need to move out of this and really start asking for help when needed. I have been guilty of that as well, guilty as charged. I've changed myself over a period of time. Okay. I had another question here from series which says, let me just highlight that. My question, people are ready to invest in a program of how to earn 3 lakhs per month in 60 days instead of how to transform yourselves. Why?
I know, Sirish. Good question. Uh, this is a very good question. I'm myself grappling at how people are getting cheated and fooled on online, and they are told that, oh, you can make so much money. And I always say, if you don't transform yourself, if you don't grow, if you have not invested in your growth, how can you make that money? Or even if you make that money, how will you spend that money? You will come back to square one. You can't sustain till you have grown from within. It's very, very important. But unfortunately, online business, like all businesses, has its negatives. People are getting cheated by the dozen on online. People are doing a lot of advertising, and I also blame the customers. Recently, I got somebody who told me, Minocher, I did a program and I spent so much money and I got cheated with this trainer. And I said, why do you say he's cheating you? He's advertising. And did you see his background? He's just 2 years back, he's into the business, and last 6 months, he's doing online programs. He's a young 29-year-old boy with no experience, but he's got fancy advertising, very glossy videos, and you get taken by and you spend lakhs with him, and then you say you got cheated. No, I think all customers now have to do homework. They have to go and find out about the trainers and coaches. They can't be lazy. They can't get carried away by ads. They have to go and cross check who are they. If this guy is promising, what is his background, since when he's been in the business, what is his qualification. Don't get carried away by ads. So I think it's also the responsibility of everybody, or anybody who goes for these courses, to do their homework before selecting their courses.
I totally. I know of a few. I know of a few people really who fell for it in the past and who spent thousands of dollars trying to go for things, and things never really worked out. So I'm sure many of us could relate with what you just said.
Even
Okay,
Omar, just a minute. Since we are on this, I like to make a point. There are a lot of coaches, and there are a lot of people who want to become coaches, and they end up spending a bomb on coaching certification at the wrong timing stage of their career as coaches. I feel it's better you get a mentor for yourself. Don't just spend money blindly. I've seen so many people waste their money, and I feel so bad for them, hard-earned money. And then after a year or two, they realize, oh, I should not have spent that money there. Now I'm stuck with no money, and or I don't feel like spending more, and they forget that they let go of their dreams. I think it's very important to get the right mentor to guide you, and because that will help you he will make sure that you don't waste money where it's not to be wasted, and you spend at the right places. So that's
correct.
just, I thought I should leave this thought with you all.
Absolutely, I absolutely agree with that. So hopefully that answers your question, Sirish. I have quite a few other questions from Asma as well, from others too. I'm sorry, I can't really take all the questions. We are time bound, but really good questions coming in there. And what I will do is I can pass these questions off to Mr. Minocher, and he can later on answer them if at his convenience. What I would like to do here is, first of all, I just wanted to highlight this, Mr. Patel, is we have one of my batchmates here, Vandana Tanna, if you remember the name, and she says hi to you. And I'm sure there are many others also. I wouldn't see them until they actually post a comment. But yeah, that just shows that people from my batch also are here who had met you 17 years ago.
Please
It's a
say
great
hi,
joy.
Vandana. Hi, Vandana, how are you? Give my regards to her.
Sure. Okay. The next section is essentially a very quick review to the audience here. Mr. Patel was also very, very gracious to actually do a foreword for a book which was created in Dubai. 25 coaches. 25 life coaches got together in Dubai, and these are from different nationalities, right? From Turkey to Canada to, I believe, Africa, someone based in the UAE, also Emirati as well, and India and Pakistan, of course. Everybody came together and they said, let's make a decision and let's create a book of 25 real life stories from our lives. Every author has opened his heart out and published a story from his life, a story which talks about the failure of his or her life and how they failed in life, but they got up again, dusted themselves, and then showed how they actually became successful. Amazing stories, and yours truly is also a part of those 25 authors. My story also happens to be in that book, and let me just share that book here, if I may, and it just comes up on the shared screen. There you go. This is the book. It's called as Take Two at Life, which is about to get launched somewhere in next month. It's almost ready, designed, interior designing is going on, and hopefully we'll see the real and we'll be able to smell the paper sometime around second or the third week of November. The reason why I wanted to highlight this over here is Mr. Patel has written the foreword for this, and he's gone through every single story. He's taken time out, and he's loved the stories, by the way. So everybody who's been an author, everyone who's an author in this book and on the call, you can pat yourself on the back because Mr. Patel says a great job done. And let me actually hear from him, sir. Anything which you would like to add in terms of what do you think about the book and anything you think stands out?
Yeah, Omar, I think I was very happy to read the book. One of the reasons I agreed to write the forward was, of course, you being my student, I can never say no to my ex-students. And but honestly, what I really I like that the concept of the book, the thought of 25 coaches sharing their experiences of failure in life and how they bounce back. I think I personally believe all good trainers and all good coaches go through some problem in life before they eventually become great trainers and great coaches. It's like I say, God gives, before giving a promotion to you, He takes your test. Okay, can you handle a problem? It's like that, like in an organization, before your boss promotes you, he gives you a little more work, a little more pressure, and sees how you can handle it. And if you handle it well, then he will promote you. Similarly,
Correct.
I think God's ways are such, and that's why when I read the stories, and some of the stories are so touching, and I was so proud to read your story to Omar, and not because you're my student, but I was genuinely touched by your story, and all the so many of the stories are written. Whoever is like I mentioned to you, the 25 coaches who have written the stories, I was really touched, and hopefully, I look forward to meeting them and giving them a big hug for being so honest and sharing their stories so honestly. It takes a lot to share your own story honestly in a book like this. So I'm sure it'll be a great success. It'll be useful to everybody, youngsters, senior executives. It'll inspire a lot of people across the globe.
Totally. And that was the whole intention. We came together, we said, let's create a book, okay, which would eventually help people to relate with our stories and say, hey, if he failed and then he became successful, why can't I? And that was the whole intention. It was absolutely a noble intention. And Asma had made a comment. Asma is one of the authors as well in this book. And I say Conan. In fact, I wanted Conan as the project owner of this book, and I actually wanted him to bring him on screen, but I see that he's not logged into the studio. Must have had some technical issues. I wanted to bring him on, and he wanted to express his gratitude to you for the forward, and also talk a bit about how the project actually came into being. It essentially started from a very, very noble cause, and here we are. 25 different authors with different nationalities having a story each from their life. I'm sure the book is going to be a great hit. And forget the hit part of it, it's going to be very inspiring for people who are trying to look for that inspiration, especially in these times. And so looking totally forward to it. So thank you again for your graciousness.
My pleasure. I enjoyed writing the forward.
Great. And knowing that we are almost out of time, I'll just take one last question. I'll ask you myself is, to all the coaches on the call, to wannabe coaches, practicing coaches, students, we also have students on the call today, some doctorates as well. What would be your advice? And what would your, words of wisdom, I may call them, be to all the learners, seekers, and takers on the call who really want to make an impact, who really want to inspire lives, impact lives, and make the world a better place? And what would your advice be essentially?
I would just say, whatever your dreams are, believe in them. You have to have very high self belief in what you do. Set clear goals for yourself, time bound goals, and then go after them like crazy. Like you got to be a little crazy to be an entrepreneur. Remember this, and you have to. It's not an easy ride, and you have to be ready for failure. I
Absolutely.
sincerely believe mentally be ready for failure. Unfortunately, nowadays, youngsters, especially in the age group of 20 to 30, they want quick success. They want to be CEOs tomorrow, day after, they want to own the company. It doesn't work that way. So, mentally be patient, give yourself some time. Be ambitious, but don't be greedy. Don't be too money centered. Money will come. There is a great need for trainers and coaches in the world, all over the world. And if you're quality, people will pay for you. And also, I'll tell you this much, don't sell yourself cheap. There are a lot of people out there who want to get you cheap. No, say sit at home. I sat at home for 1 year, refusing work, saying no, I will not work so cheap. For the first 1 year of my career, I sat at home, and only after 1 year, when I started getting my value, I started going and doing programs. In fact, there were some colleges in those days telling me, "Why don't you become a lecturer? No, we will pay you 500 rupees an hour." I said, "No, no, no, no. I'm not a lecturer. I am a trainer. I charge for a full day's fees." So I just charged them for a full day. I never got involved in that circuit of lectures, because if I'd done that, it was an easy shortcut, means easier route. But then I would have got stuck, maybe stuck as a lecturer in the lecture circuit and not become a successful trainer. So you got to be clear in your mind what you want to do. You should know your value, but honestly, you should know your value. If you're not very good, then don't expect to be paid too high also. Some people have wrong impression. So be ready to be honest to yourself and pace yourself. And very important, invest in two things. Get yourself a good mentor, invest in a professional mentor. And two, invest in branding. Before you launch yourself as a coach or trainer, be visible on social media. Marketing is very, very important. Unfortunately, whether we like it or not, we are living in a world which is marketing driven. So if
Yeah.
you're not known, you're finished. There are so many people who are good, but nobody knows where they are. So it's no use. So focus on getting a good mentor and focus on marketing yourself well, and then have strong self-belief in yourself and go after your goals. And again, give yourself time. Don't be impatient. It takes 3-4 years to evolve or reinvent yourself. So give yourself that time, and then God forbid in 3-4 years if you don't make it, then honestly accept it and go back to a job. Then don't waste your time longer than that.
Fantastic. Golden words. Thank you very much. I have Conan in the studio now. Conan, as I said, is a project owner of the Take Two at Live book, and I think I'll just pull him on the screen, and he just wants to express his gratitude to you as well. Conan, I'm pulling you in. Let me see. There you go. Conan, you're live.
Hi, Conan.
Great. Assalamu alaikum.
Malikum salam.
Thank you, Omar. Great session, and thank you, Minocher Patel, for a great insight, sir. And on behalf of entire team, my heartfelt gratitude for your support to our book, and we are looking forward for your continuous support as a trainer, because we all are upcoming coaches, and we look forward to be in touch with you to
Sure,
learn many more things, sir.
sure. Most
And I take this opportunity to thank Omar, very supportive as an editorial team member, and all our editors, including Atia, Donesa, Dr. Nabila, and Shiham, and all the 25, including me, the authors. With your support, with your contribution, we are looking forward to come up with the more such books, so that we can share our experiences of our lives, and we together can build a better society. So thank you so much, and looking forward to have more interaction with you. Thank you, Omar. Have a great day.
Fantastic. Conan is an absolute giver, Mr. Patel. I'll just take you off, Conan. Thank you very much. He is an absolute giver. I have not known a person as noble as him in terms of giving straight from the heart. So I have a lot of respect for him. He's led the project very, very well. In fact, he has a full-time job as well. He's into purchase with a very big company having 45,000 employees, and in spite of that, he took out time to ensure he makes the project go to completion. And not just that, he's looking forward to one more project with another group of authors. My goodness, hats off to his patience and hats off to his nobility. um, that's thank you, Conan. I just wanted to highlight one more comment over here. Mr. Sir and Mr. Patel is from Neha, which is also a batchmate. She is now in Toronto, in Canada, and she says, "Good and inspiring words from Mr. Patel." She also was in the 2003-2005 batch. So there you go.
hi, dear. How are you?
Great. That is it. We do have a few questions. I don't know how you're doing on time, Mr. Patel. Are you okay with
I'm
taking a few
fine.
questions?
You can go ahead. I'm fine.
Oh, great. Okay. So, because I see that we have crossed the, oh, wow, 1 hour mark. Thank you very, very much. The audience, very, very patient, and they've been gripped. They have hung on to every word of yours. And I love that. I love the energy. So let me take a few questions. I saw Sirisha's questions. Asma had a few questions. Where is that? Okay. So there we go. What are the characteristics of a training that sets it apart from teaching? Oh, that's deep.
Asma, that's a very, very long answer. I don't think I'll be able to do justice in the short time I am given out here. Uh, it says there are a lot of differences which I will bring out. Maybe we could uh, exchange some messages, or I can answer your mail, because it'll take a lot of time if I go into this in the
Yeah.
limited time that we have.
It's a deep subject,
It's a very deep question and a very good question. And please tell her to email me. I will definitely reply her.
which actually is interesting because I received a lot of messages on my personal chat too. Everybody seems to be asking for your contact details. Is it okay if I share your contact details with them?
Please, please do. I'll be happy to communicate with anybody who wants to get in touch with me.
Okay, I have it here on my band somewhere over here. I'll just put them on the screen. People can note your contact details down. I believe you also are available for one-to-one coaching, group session, and other things as well, right?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
that's like that's what we do. So if anybody needs professional coaching and mentoring, I am available. Yeah.
Great. There's one more comment here. I want to highlight this. Leon Ferguson from Canada. Thank you very much for joining in. And so much of wisdom in this live session. Respect from Canada. Respect to you for being here and being gripped on and hung on to everything that was being discussed. It's the audience essentially which makes any session. So thank you guys and ladies and gentlemen for being there. Okay, and there are many other comments. Thank you everybody for being here. Abdul Khalik, and I see you as well. Sirish is very active. Mahesh is here. Shafiq Z is here, and everybody is here. Thank you all. Okay, so let me go ahead and just put out those contact details of Mr. Patel. There you go. Anyone who wants to contact Mr. Patel, feel free to contact him at this email and number. Okay.
Omar,
Yeah.
I would like to add here that the email ID you have mentioned, that's our official ID.
Oh.
There might be some people who want to communicate with me privately about something confidential, which they don't want my office staff to see. So for them, I'll give an email ID which they can write down. It's my personal ID. You can write
Uh
on
huh.
that, so you're comfortable that there'll be complete confidentiality maintained.
Sure.
My personal ID is Taurus, Taurus, Taurus. That's just my star sign, Taurus,
Hmm.
Taurus, Taurus, 456 at gmail.com. So I'll repeat, Taurus456 at gmail.com. So, and the number given there is also my WhatsApp number. The
Hmm.
number that's flashing on the screen, that's the same number for WhatsApp. So you can either call or WhatsApp me on that number. I'm available on that number.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make it easy for everybody. This is what I'm going to do. And there you go. Is that the right email?
Wow, that was quick. That's that's my personal email ID, the last one.
Perfect. So the coaching at Minocher Patel is your official one. Taurus456 at Gmail is your personal one. Asma or anyone who wants to get in touch with Mr. Patel, feel free to do it at his personal email, asking questions, and I'm sure you won't be disappointed as much as I know him. Okay. Thank you very much. Any parting words, sir, from you?
Uh, I think we have discussed a lot. I think we have had a good conversation, and I wish everybody all the best. I wish all the trainers and coaches uh, all the best in their future endeavors, and I hope they do well. Just last point of learning, which I would like to share, which I feel we didn't discuss in this session, is like a lot of people ask me, how do I handle feedback?
Mm-hmm.
How do I handle? What is the importance of feedback? I feel feedback is extremely crucial, extremely crucial.
Mm-hmm.
I would like you all to know that though I'm training for the last 22 years, I don't take my audience for granted. the organization or the education institute might take their feedback, personal feedback, means to their from their students or from their corporate leaders. I make it a point to take a written feedback, a full-scale sheet. I give the students a separate sheet where they are asked to write down what they felt, not just quantitatively, what they felt, how they hit them, where they feel we can improve the program. And even if I've trained 300 people in that day, I don't sleep before reading those feedback forms.
Wow.
And I
Okay.
make my notes because feedback is extremely crucial. And also, some people ask me that unnecessarily sometimes you get negative feedback. How do you handle it? Don't feel too bad. See, out of a group of 100 people, if five people give you negative feedback and it's not repetitive negative feedback, then ignore it. Because even if Christ comes on earth, they will, Buddha, they will stone, they will criticize even God. Don't worry about that. Yeah,
True
so
that.
human beings are like that. So ignore it. But if you see there is some repetitive negative feedback coming, even from one person, then take note of it and fine tune it, correct it. So feedback is the breakfast of champions. It's very important to take feedback. And now there's one more part to feedback. After taking feedback, for God's sake, don't say, "Oh, I know it. This is wrong." Correct it. All great people, whether they're trainers, cricketers, Sachin Tendulkar was a successful cricketer because every match he saw his recordings, and
Correct.
if he got out, he found out why he got out. Why is he getting out on that shot? And if he couldn't correct that shot, he'd stop playing that shot. That's how he was a great cricketer. So my parting message is for trainers, especially coaches, everybody, and in fact, people from any walk of life. Feedback is the breakfast of champions. Please keep taking feedback and keep making yourself better and better and better. And with this, I'd say thank you, Omar, for having me. I enjoy sharing my story with you and sharing some of the tips which I had. I hope the audience has enjoyed it. And God willing, we'll do this soon sometime in the future again.
I'm sure the audience has enjoyed it thoroughly. I see comments after comments. I can't highlight all of them, but amazing comments coming in. They've really been. I wouldn't be surprised if they come back to me and say we want another hour sometime later on. So
In fact, I would be happy if some of y'all uh, let me have feedback about this session. Honest feedback. How did you like? What touched you the most? You can send your feedback directly on my WhatsApp number 9822021856. It'd be interesting for me to know how it's affected you, where it helped you the most. So when I do such interviews in the future, because these interviews can be a medium to inspire people. So I don't just look at it as an interview, I look at it as a session in a structured format, within a more interesting format.
right.
Somebody intelligent and smart like Omar interviewing you instead of you just talking. So, Omar, thanks for doing a good job and asking very good question. Hats off to you. Very nice questions. I really like the questions.
I have been your student. I give the entire credit to you.
Thank you.
I
Thank
will
you.
close with your words, your golden words, where you said feedback is the breakfast for champions. I'm going to frame those and hang them on the wall and look at them every single day. Fantastic words. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your precious time, and I wish you all the best in terms of health, wealth, and prosperity. May you live long. We need people like you who keep inspiring people. We need people like you who will show us and guide us the way forward. I'm sure lots of students like me would actually be indebted to you for showing them the right way and showing them how it is to be like when you actually move from a college to the corporate world and how you really have to conduct yourself in life. Amazing wisdom. Thank you very much. And
Thank you.
audience, thank you. Fantastic audience. You've been very, very patient, very engaging, lots of energy. Love you all. See you all again the next time. Thank you very much. Thank you. With that, I would end this session and the live broadcast would end. This would be available for anyone to view on Facebook and YouTube. You can view them in leisure, share them, and forward them as much as you can. Even if one person benefits from the golden words spoken today, the golden discussion that we had, you get all the credit for it. Feel free to share. It's all about goodness. As Mr. Patel said, start with service. It'll all come back to you. The more you give, the more you get. Thank you very much. That's an end of the broadcast. Bye.